Welcome to the Ingress Insights podcast, hosted by PkmnTrainerJ. Ingress Insights is a podcast about the Niantic game Ingress. Listen each week for the latest news, updates and rumours. Let us know your thoughts by leaving a voice message or emailing us at the links in the show notes.
Additional intel available.
Hello agents, and welcome to episode 85 of the Ingress Insights podcast. In this week's episode we're going over the anomaly results from the recent skirmish that's happened, as well as the Yokosuka recap, and going through details for plus data on the Q2 schedule and the recent update we've had regarding seeing duplicates on the Ingress nomination map. Before I get into all of that, I just want to do a quick update on my gameplay at the moment. So as I mentioned last time, I'm slowly progressing up. Now over 4.5 million AP, so I should get to the next level either next week or the week after, depends on how much I play over the time. And again, I'm not aiming for a specific kind of badge at the moment, I'm just seeing what I get close to and then I'll go for that. It might be mods deployed, I think I'm pretty close on the next level of that. And then finally, before I get into the podcast proper, I just want to note it's now past 7,500 plays of the podcast, so that's really great to me for a little podcast I didn't think anyone would listen to. And obviously we're at episode 85 for this episode, so it's only 15 to go till episode 100, which also seems crazy. So that's what I really want to go over before we get started on the episode. So I'll get into the skirmish results from the APAC region firstly for our anomaly news.
Hi, this is HP Lola, and you're listening to the Ingress Insights podcast.
On the 8th of March, the Shard skirmish happened in the APAC region. There were no beacon skirmishes included in this, so it's just Shard skirmishes, so I'll just run through the results there. So in Auckland, New Zealand, it was 0 shards to Enlightened, 18 for Resistance, so that was 0 season points to Enlightened, but 12.6 to Resistance. In Canberra, Australia, it was 16 shards to Enlightened, 3 to Resistance, so 11.2 points for Enlightened, 2.1 points for Resistance. In Daegu, South Korea, it was 11 shards to Enlightened, and the Resistance equaled that with 11 as well. So it was 7.7 points apiece there. In Kagoshima, Japan, it was 12 shards to Enlightened, 9 to Resistance, so 8.4 points to Enlightened, 6.3 to Resistance. And then in Bago in the Philippines, it was 25 shards to Enlightened. They seem to have got them all, because Resistance got 0. So it was 17.5 points there to Enlightened, 0 for Resistance. In Petaling Jaya in Malaysia, it was 11 shards to Enlightened, 13 to Resistance. So 7.7 points to Enlightened, 9.1 to Resistance. In Zubei, Taiwan, it was 20 shards to Enlightened, 4 to Resistance. So that's 14 points for Enlightened from there and 2.8 to Resistance. Bangkok, Thailand was close, so that was 10 shards to Enlightened versus 9 to Resistance. So that was 7 points there for Enlightened, 6.3 to Resistance. Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam went fully to Resistance, so it was 0 shards there captured by Enlightened, 18 by Resistance. So 0 points for Enlightened, 12.6 season points for Resistance. And then in South Jakarta in Indonesia, it was 12 shards to Enlightened versus 2 to Resistance. So 8.4 points there for Enlightened, 1.4 for Resistance. In Gale in Sri Lanka, it was 16 shards for Enlightened. Resistance got 2 shards there again. So that was 11.2 season points to Enlightened, 1.4 season points to Resistance. And finally in Almaty in Kazakhstan, it was 19 shards for Enlightened, 3 for Resistance. That was 13.3 points to Enlightened, 2.1 to Resistance. If you know the list of cities, you'll notice I've missed one off on there. So I just want to go back to Donggang, Taiwan. So that was 0 shards to Enlightened, 20 to Resistance. So 0 points to Enlightened, 14 to Resistance. However, it does say that this is currently under investigation. From what I've read in various chats, it seems like there was possibly a spoofer getting the shards for messing with the operation somehow. So that score may change, and then that may change the overall score. But currently the overall score from the APAC region shard skirmish was 106.4 points to Enlightened versus 78.4 to Resistance. This score update does mean that the current plus alpha series score is 695.2 points to Enlightened versus 470.5 points to Resistance. There's still an anomaly to come, so it could all change on there, but that's the scores at present. Before I get into the next section, I do want to apologise for missing this last time. So the play box for the Nepal XM anomaly is now highlighted on the Intel map. So that's 579 portals in it, and that's going to be held at near the end of the month on March the 22nd. So if you are planning to participate, you'll be able to check the Intel map, see where all the portals are, and then help out your faction there. On the 6th of March, the Ingress team posted up a recap post for Plus Alpha in Yokosuka. So they wrote, on Saturday 15th February, agents from around the world gathered in Yokosuka, Japan to battle for the fate of this naval port city. Thank you for making the Plus Alpha Yokosuka anomaly one for the books. Together, the Enlightened and Resistant walked more than 100,000 kilometers over the anomaly mission day and shard field test weekend as they explored the city and surrounding area. In addition to flying Ingress posted in every Keiku mainline train station leading up to the anomaly, Yokosuka also broadcast Ingress videos across the city. With these promotions plus press mentions following the anomaly, we saw a week-over-week increase in new agents installing the Ingress scanner in Japan. We do cover the total score there, but I've covered that multiple times, so I'm not going to repeat that. I do think it's good they had this push for advertising at this anomaly. It'd be great to see it other ones and obviously get more people playing the game and see what press would cover it for like UK, US publications in those regions, and then see how the word of Ingress can get out a little bit more. But I'll link to this both in the show notes, which contains a video that I think played at the stations, and then you'll be able to view that for yourself. This is where I'd normally say that's it for news concerning the anomaly. However, in this episode, there's quite a few things that bleed over into the other. So there is some more news about an anomaly next in the Ingress general news for the Q2 event schedule. We have details for Plus Theta. So I'll section it off as usual, but we're going to Ingress news. It's got a bit of anomaly news in it as well for Plus Theta.
This is Jessica Jung, lead producer of Peridot, and you're listening to Ingress Insights.
On the 4th of March, the Ingress team put up their April to June 2025 schedule, and it's a bit different, so I'll talk about it a bit after I read through it. So they noted agents, the schedule for covert operations for the upcoming quarter, April, May, June, has been finalised. This season, agents will be awarded a 3-tiered Plus Theta medal based on their performance in anomaly battles, skirmish events, and other activities. Further instructions and detailed intelligence for each operation will be provided close to the execution dates. Stay alert. So in April, we have first Saturday on the 5th of April as usual. The 13th of April brings us second Sunday from 12 AM local time to 11:59 PM local time. Then from the 19th of April to the 11th of May, we've got the Plus Theta Global campaign. We don't have any details on that yet. It just mentions stay prepared for new directives. The 22nd of April, we have an Earth Day bonus. Again, there's no further details on that, but then that ties us up for April. Moving into May, on the 3rd of May, we've got first Saturday. The 11th of May brings us second Sunday. The 17th of May brings us the first XM anomaly of this season. So that's at Manila, Metro Manila, Philippines, and Providence, Rhode Island in the US. That's followed the following week on the 24th of May by the Plus Theta skirmish for the EMEA regions, and that's at 13 EMEA locations. Then on the final day of May on the 31st, it's the Plus Theta skirmish in the AMER regions, again at 13 locations but in the AMER region. Then for June, we've got the 7th of June as first Saturday, and also on the 7th of June, it's the Plus Theta skirmish in the APAC regions, again at 13 APAC locations there. The 8th of June, the day after, is second Sunday, again 12 AM local time to 11:59 PM local time. And then we finish out the season on the 14th of June with the last event there being the Plus Theta anomaly at Perth in Australia and Chemnitz in Germany. Before I get into the next quarter, there's some XM anomalies that have been announced there. I just want to say it's interesting that it's now a tiered medal for anomalies. So I assume it will be if you attend an anomaly, it's bronze. If you attend anomaly and a shard skirmish, you'll get it silver. If you attend anomaly, shard skirmish, and a global op event, then it will be gold. So you could go to all three things if you want the highest anomaly medal. This is a new thing. Previously, it's just an anomaly medal or not an anomaly medal. So it'll be interesting to see how it does work and whether people are happy with everyone getting the badge for a global event if that's the way that you get it. I know some people weren't happy when that was the case with some things during the pandemic, where if someone attended an event, it was the same badge if someone did battle beacons at home. So maybe this is a bit of a workaround that you'll at least have silver then if you do both of those. As I mentioned, XM anomalies for 2025 as well for Q3 have been revealed. So on the 16th of August, there's one in Malacca City in Malaysia and Portland, Oregon in the USA. The 23rd of August, there's one in Gothenburg, Sweden and Quebec City in Canada. And then 20th of September 2025, there's one in Denpasar City in Bali in Indonesia. And finally, a UK anomaly in Cambridge. So that's the schedule for the Plus Theta season, again starting in April. But we do have to finish up the Plus Alpha season first of all. As we get close to those dates, there'll be more information that's revealed, and I'll go through details for April when we get to the end of May if we've got more details there, and so on. But let me know if there's anything you want to know in more detail on there. I mentioned when Second Sunday was highlighted in the Q2 schedule that I've just gone through, but today is Second Sunday as a listener's podcast. So just a reminder that goes from 12 a.m. local time to 11:59 p.m. local time. If you check your scanner, you'll have a series of campaigns to do. You only do one of those to actually get the Second Sunday tick, but make sure you do at least one if you can. For me, this should be me getting the silver Second Sunday mill this time around. I've got enough scans saved up this time. I think I'm on about 45 scans, so I should definitely get the Scout Controller on at least 5 of those. So I'm looking forward to that. But just a reminder to open your scan day and complete a Second Sunday assignment. On the 7th of March, the Ingress team dropped a surprise event. So this is Pi Day 2025. So their blog post said, capture the irrational Pi Day 2025. Agents this March 14th were celebrating Pi Day in Ingress with a pursuit that's as irrational as Pi itself, the Capture the Irrational campaign. Pi, the mathematical constant that stretches on forever, embodies the spirit of our community, curious, persistent, and always seeking the next challenge. In its honour, we've crafted a campaign that will test your exploration skills, your patience, and your sanity. Are you ready to embrace the irrational? The Capture the Irrational campaign begins on March 14th at 12 a.m. local time. Happy Pi Day. It looks like this will be obviously just for March the 14th, because when you write dates in American, it's 314, the first few bits of Pi. But it'd be interesting to see what campaigns might stretch agent sanity, because I know the last few ones for doing lots of links for the Valentine's Day event stretched some people's sanity a bit, and they didn't do them. So curious as to what the Ingress team classifies as irrational, but being Capture the Irrational, it seems like it'll be about portal captures. So if there are some portals nearby, maybe leave them blank for a little bit, and then capture them the following day on the March the 14th. That's it for regular Ingress news. As I mentioned, some of these things bleed into the other. So next up, I want to talk about the duplicate map that is now live in Ingress, but I'm going to link that into general Wayfarer stuff. So I'll talk about that more in the next section.
Hey, this is Sim, Global Product Marketing Lead for Peridot, and you're listening to Ingress Insights.
On the 6th of March, the Ingress team posts on their social media channels, starting with Ingress Scanner 2.16.1, the one that we're already on. Agents can now see nearby Wayfarer wayspots while nominating portals. Happy exploring. This is something that agents have requested for a long time. It's been available in Pokemon Go for ages, so it's useful to see things that already exist in the database that maybe don't appear in Ingress when you're nominating, so you don't accidentally nominate duplicates. However, the Pokemon Go map shows power spots when you nominate, and so does the Ingress duplicate check map. These power spots only appear in Pokemon Go, so nothing to do with Ingress, so I have no idea why they decided they would appear on there. If something is eligible and you nominate it, it wouldn't show on Wayfarer there's a power spot there when someone is reviewing. So it's not as helpful as it seems, but if you click one of the little Wayfarer pins, the orange pins on the map, and you see something that's got no description, a grey like template photo thing that's nothing, then that'll be a power spot. So if something is there that's eligible, you can still nominate that to appear in Ingress. It won't be seen as a duplicate by reviewers. So the feature is good and it's here, it's not great. So I'm hoping the Ingress team does update it and turns off the power spot layer if they can, because they don't matter in Ingress at all. But I will just talk a bit about what power spots actually are and why you should care about them for Ingress or shouldn't care about them. So what is a power spot and why should you care about them as an Ingress player? Power spots are something that's been added to Pokemon Go. For Pokemon Go, they either come from unused way spots, so things that may exist in Ingress aren't used by Pokemon, that then appear as a power spot there. Many of them, however, come from a new database that Niantic have imported. So Niantic Thibs has noted to enhance the density of locations, particularly in areas previously devoid of them. We've recently incorporated a fresh database of locations. Note that these locations were imported while not necessarily abiding to our Wayfarer criteria. So now that the Ingress duplicate check is live, you may see some of these on the map. You might see some random business or something that you click and it's got no description, a greyish photo, and doesn't seem to meet Wayfarer criteria. That will be a power spot that's been added from the database as mentioned by Niantic Thibs. So if you see a power spot on the map that's the little orange pin when you're nominating an Ingress, and there is something that's eligible there, say it's a mural that's there that's been somehow added as a power spot, but doesn't have a photo, doesn't have a description, then you could nominate it. It won't be seen as a duplicate by reviewers when they're looking at it. There have been instances where they've been seen as duplicates by appeal reviewers, so I'd be careful on that personally. But you can nominate things that are eligible, even if there is a power spot that's showing on the map there, because they won't be showing in Ingress, as mentioned. I don't know how it looks in places like India, where there's been Foursquare imports and things like that on the map. It must look horrendous, I think. I do want to highlight something else Niantic Thibs said in the Pokemon Go power spots topic on the forums that I'll link to as well. So, will power spots eventually become Pokestops or way spots? All the power spots generated from a new database, not at the moment, but you can start seeing those new locations on the Niantic map when submitting new way spots and also while reviewing. We are also working on a major update of the map which will allow our games to better serve more diverse locations on our map. So it seems possible the Ingress team may do something with the new database of power spots that's been added to the map. What they'll do with it, or if they do decide to do anything with it, I don't know, because obviously they were against all the imports and those got removed. I just want to highlight what you might be seeing on the map as the little orange pins where there's no description, a grey photo, and they don't meet Wayfarer criteria. That will be a Pokemon Go power spot that's been imported from this new database that Niantic Thibs has mentioned. Hopefully you can mostly ignore them and just nominate what you know is eligible anyway, but it's useful to see things on the map now that we do have the duplicate check live in Ingress. So that's all I wanted to cover off quickly on there. Thanks for listening to this bit. Whilst we're talking Pokemon Go and Wayfarer, there is a new Wayfarer challenge that started. It's not open to Ingress agents. Similar to the challenge that was in Brazil last year, this one is for Chile and India. So this runs from Friday, March 7th to March 9th for Chile, and from the 10th of March to the 12th of March for India. There are goals to review 5,000 way spots during the challenge, and for that, trainers get 20 Ultra Balls, 1 Star Piece, 1 Incense, 1 Puffin. Level 2 is 10,000 way spot nominations resolved, and that's 25 Ultra Balls, 2 Star Pieces, 2 Incense, 2 Puffins, and 1 Lucky Egg. The blog title of this does mention take part in the Wayfarer Challenge in Chile and India and earn amazing rewards. I don't think those rewards are amazing myself. I've mentioned before that it's a bit of a pain when they do these challenges and Ingress agents can't do them and can't assist in helping those areas out at all. Even if you are an Ingress agent based in Chile or India, you can't earn Ingress-based rewards for doing this challenge at all. It does seem to me like a bit of a dick move for this, especially when there's obviously recently onboarded new Ingress agents are level 8. Now that level has been lowered that could help review, and they've been locked out of another challenge. So that'll be three challenges. I guess, I don't know if we count this as 2 challenges separately or 1 challenge, but it's at least 2 challenges that Ingress agents have been locked out of in recent years, so it pissed me off a bit, really, as a Ingress player mainly. But I'd love to know how you feel about it, whether you're not bothered, whether you think it would have been worth adding Ingress things into this, whether you would have done it for an OPR live tick. We are still waiting for the Q1 challenge for Wayfarer, And obviously now as we're on the 9th of March, that's fast approaching when it could happen. Presumably it'll happen at some point after this one concludes, and hopefully then everyone can be involved. It's not just locked to a single game, which I say is a bit of a dick move, really. That's pretty much all the news and discussion points I've got for this week, agents, so I'll move into getting things wrapped up for you now.
This is Shimon, former community manager for the Witcher Monster Slayer, and you're listening to Ingress Insights.
Thank you again for listening, agents, to this episode of the Ingress Insights podcast. Next time we should be able to go over what happened on Pi Day and the Plus Alpha skirmish in the AMER regions that happened on the 15th of March. So we should be able to go through over that and discuss what actually happened there and what the score is before the XM Anomaly in Italy, as that will be our decider for the Plus Alpha Anomaly season. I'm eager to see if we do get any other little events announced. Today, as I'm recording this, it is International Women's Day, and I covered last year that I really didn't do anything for that. Obviously not done anything this time around either, but I guess we didn't really expect them to. We've had events for Toasty Day, Pi Day, Valentine's Day, but not other events like International Women's Day. Presumably we'll have one for Mother's Day. That's at the end of March in the UK. I can't remember when it is for the US. Obviously it'll be the US one that gets celebrated in Ingress. And besides that, I'm just looking for ideas, things to do for when I do get to episode 100. As I mentioned, it's not too far off now, so I've started to make some plans for it. I just have to get those concrete, and then obviously finish up doing my interview editing with Erin to get that out to you all at some point, hopefully this month, but I'll keep you all updated as to when that is due out. Hope you all have a great Sunday. Hope you have a great second Sunday, and happy hacking, agents. Thank you, agents, for listening to the latest episode of the Ingress Insights podcast. If you'd like to follow us on social media, you can do that on a few channels. So on Threads under the name ingress.insights, on Instagram under the name ingress.insights as well. Our Twitter/X, which posts episodes of the podcast, is under Ingress Insights, no dot in that one. And you can also watch these episodes on YouTube under Ingress Insights Podcast. You can send us a voice message by visiting the podcaster's Spotify page. And finally, you can buy Ingress Insights merch, such as mugs, pins, t-shirts, by going to freepublic.com/user/ingress-insights. And on there, you'll see all the designs that we've got listed at the moment. There are some new ones that will be coming up at some point soon, but you can buy your Ingress Insights mug, hats, t-shirts, tote bags, anything like that you want. Thank you again for listening. Hope you tune in next week. If you do like the show, please do rate it on the podcast service you're listening to. I look forward to speaking with you all about Ingress again.
Intel package transferred.